afternoon. Welcome to the first chapel of spring term. After today, we'll have 3 more sets of senior speakers, and then we have some special chapels that will finish out the year, including many of our favorites, the Kent Davis speaking competition. Tomorrow, we have another revisit day, and I want to thank you for all your help last Thursday. Many families remarked on what an incredible community we have, that people seemed so friendly, so happy, and people went out of their way to welcome them and help them as they made their way around campus. As we look forward to the spring, I certainly hope that the weather will start to cooperate with us a little bit more, and we'll see some games. Spring is quick, spring is fun, so be smart, be good, and be kind. And we're going to hear first today from Finn Dawson.
Hello, Suffield. I'd like to start my speech off by wishing happy birthday to Hannah Cody. So, happy birthday, Hannah. My name is Finn Dawson. I'm a postgrad student from Fairfield, Connecticut. And entering Suffield, I had one expectation: to play basketball every day. My time spent with my fellow students off the court at Suffield, however, may have been more important. The first week that I was here, I had very little interest in leaving my dorm room in Fuller and interacting with anyone. As a PG, I wholeheartedly believed that the seniors would not want to associate with me. I could not have been more wrong. When my roommate, Tyler Darcy, forced me to hang out in a room called the Fridge, I wanted to go home. The Fridge, aka Trey, Damien, and Sanders' room, usually consists of those 3, Benedict, Declan, Hank, and Tyler. At first, I was extremely uncomfortable. This group had been a close group of friends in Spencer last year, and I was just a new kid that nobody knew. While this experience was very challenging, I had the unique opportunity to have a fresh start with a new group of people. Everyone was extremely welcoming, except for Damien. Damien would not talk to me, and I didn't know why. As I was writing this speech in the Fridge, Damien told me a little secret. He didn't know my name for the first 3 months of school. He only knew me as Tyler's roommate. I choose to believe this is the reason why he did not speak to me, and that this is the one exception to Suffield's ever-caring community. No worries though, Damien and I are now good friends. On a more serious note, I would like to thank my parents. Without their constant support and encouragement throughout my life, prep school experience, and college process, I have no idea where I would be. Mom, I want to thank you for the endless love and support you give me. No matter how many basketball tournaments I make you drive me to, you always seem ready to drive me to the next one. I also like to thank you for being the best cook in the world and supplying my friends and I with endless amount of snacks and apple juice. Dad, I want to thank you for always being honest and straight up with me. Obviously, I don't love the relationship when I'm being scolded at for spending too much money in a month, but it's okay. I love your straightforward attitude. Everything you do and the example you set with your work ethic is inspirational to me, and I strive to be just like you. No matter the disagreements we have, my siblings and I both love you and have a deep appreciation for the way you and Mom provided us a life that you never had. While it might seem like it goes unnoticed, the 4 of us are truly grateful for the opportunities you and Mom both afford us. I'd also like to shout out a few people in Suffield who have influenced my life. To Mr. Bianchi, you can probably hear. I've been able to learn so much about the history of Suffield and your life experiences in your English class. I'm truly grateful to have you as a teacher, and I hope our last English class makes your last year very special. And to Mrs. Bianchi, thank you for being the most understanding teacher and being lenient about time constraints on your AP test. Of course, I cannot forget my fellow PGs. From the day I met your voice, I knew I was in for something different. You were all able to have the most fun with the most childish things. From the dining hall to PG leadership with Miss Yeager and Coach Shetty, you guys are never short on energy. Even though you guys are all D1 athletes and way bigger than me, I'll still beat you at basketball. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Suffield. My name is Jack Fletcher, and I'm a 4-year senior from West Simsbury, Connecticut. Suffield has always been a great place for me, a place place where I feel like I fit in. But high school can also be a time in a teenager's life that is a source of stress. This is why I'm grateful to have had my parents by my side during my high school years. Today, I will share with you all some lessons that my parents have imparted to me that have put me on the right track in something. The first one is, you guessed it, time management. I'd like to think of this skill as one that I slowly improved upon throughout my academic life, rather than one that I can just implement immediately. In other words, it's really hard. Ironically enough, I was just yelled at by my mother to get this speech written, so this skill may still have some room for improvement. But when I make use of my work time efficiently, I find that I have much more time to do anything else. A huge stress factor for many teens, including myself, are deadlines. I can tell you firsthand that it is better if you can make them, and I mean actually make them, rather than Lightning McQueen stick your tongue out across the finish line and make them. Because, as many of us know, that stress of barely making deadlines adds up. The second lesson is don't take yourself too seriously when doing things that are meant to be fun. I have found myself trying out various sports in the fall that were unfamiliar to me. I would try very hard in these sports and was often disappointed. Once I learned to relax, I was able to have a lot more fun, and even progress a little faster, which seems counterintuitive. During my freshman and sophomore year, in the fall, I took up JV water polo, and my expectations were set a little too high after I had played only a few games. I soon realized I was a far cry from being a pro at water polo, so I learned to view my failures as opportunities to reflect on how I can improve instead of feeling bad about myself. With my parents' advice, I actually did improve, and so did my attitude. Of course, there's an element of competitive spirit with both your own teammates and the other teams, which you can use for motivation. But I found that looking at my own personal progress over time made me proud. Part of having fun at Suffield is to let your guard down and take advantage of new opportunities. I know you've all heard this a million times by now, and I probably won't be the last person to tell you either, but Suffield has amazing opportunities. In order to feel fulfilled, make sure that you try that afternoon activity or go to that dance. After all, learning is only a part of the high school experience. There is so much more to it if you only look for it. Finally, I would like to thank my parents for celebrating me and guiding me through the ups and downs of the past 4 years. I would also like to thank all of my teachers and coaches, especially Mr. Carroll, my calc teacher, Mrs. Pence, my freshman and junior English teacher, and Mrs. Camp, my ski coach. And of course, a big thank you to Mr. Papa, who is probably breathing a sigh of relief right now that I was able to make all those deadlines, even though some of them may have been photo finishes. You all have believed in what I can accomplish, and you have made me a better person. I will display the confidence and pride that I have gained through my experience at Suffield for the rest of my life. Thank you all for listening to my chapel speech, and have a great rest of your day.
We all have dreams, aspirations and goals that we want to reach in life. Some of these may be athletics, academics, or others. Regardless, most of us will never reach these goals. It is just the harsh reality of life. But I'm not telling you to not dream big, so don't get me wrong. But the reason most of us don't reach these goals is because we don't put in the proper work. Anyone can be as good as they want to be at anything, so long as they put in the time to reach this objective. Always remember that. When you're feeling down and feel like you can't do it, remember those words and always push through. The sooner you start doing that, the easier it will become. The more often you will do it, and you will live your life knowing you've done everything you can to be the best version of yourself you could be. Something that I learned about airplanes recently made me choose this topic to talk to all of you about today, is that when a pilot takes off, he aims north of his destination. They do this because the crosswind often causes their plane to end up south of where they were aiming for. And if a pilot aims straight for their destination, they will end up lower than their initial target. The moral of this is, if you live your life being realistic, you will not live up to your true potential. But if you live your life shooting for your dreams, trying to do what others say is the impossible, then you will end up right where you should be. As Norman Vincent Peale once said, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars.
Even if you don't end up reaching where you wanted to go, you will still be in a place far better than where you started. That was a speech that I gave over 3 years ago for my chapel speech at Pheasant freshman year. Back then, I was a young kid with dreams of playing Division I basketball, and believe me when I say no one saw that vision. I mean no one. Not my friends, teammates, coaches, not even my own family. And to be honest, I barely believed that it could be done. The consensus back then was that I wasn't even going to get on the floor at Suffield, probably not even by my senior year. I didn't care. I believed the words that I spoke that day. Anyone can be as good as they want to be, as long as they put in the work. And if I never got the reward of getting minutes at Suffield or playing Division I basketball for that matter, I was going to do everything I could to put myself in the best position possible to accomplish those goals. So I worked, day and night, rain or shine, nonstop. While my friends went to hang out or go to parties, I was in the gym, bettering myself, unsure but hoping that someday it will all pay off. While I was working, I was still being told to quit, slow down, or focus my efforts into something different. I didn't listen. I couldn't listen. I made a promise to myself that I was going to try, give it everything I had, and if at the end it didn't work out, so be it. I'm not going to lie, I spent hours in my room crying, terrified of what I would do if it didn't work out. I was on the verge of listening to my doubters and quitting many, many times. But I'm really glad I didn't listen. So here I am, standing in front of you today. I was honored to be selected captain this past season by my teammates, which was something I could only dream of as a sophomore. I am blessed to have the opportunity of taking a post-grad year next year at an extremely high-level basketball program. I have the privilege of playing for one of the top AAU basketball teams in the country this coming spring and summer, and I have many Division I coaches in my contacts list as of today. Jewish kids from the Upper East Side of New York City are not supposed to be Division I athletes. But believe me when I say that my work is not done. I have more goals, bigger goals to accomplish. And I want the same mentality that I've had in order to put myself in the best possible position to reach these heights. And if for whatever reason I miss the moon, through my efforts and ambitions to reach each objective, I will most definitely be among the stars, which is a much better place to be if I would have quit too soon. It doesn't have to be athletics. Your vision can be art, music, acting, cooking, medicine, anything. Whatever that vision is, believe. Believe in yourself. Believe in the dream that God has given you. And believe that through hard work, dedication, and a relentless desire to reach a level no one thought you could, something great will come out of it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Suffield. My name is Elijah Lovelace. How's everyone's Monday going? I'm surprised. Well, throughout the past couple of years at Suffield, there have been a host of circumstances and life-changing events that have helped mature me and give me more of a personal understanding of what it means to be a young adult. No longer a little kid, not quite a full-grown adult. I managed being away from people I love for an extended period of time. I've overcome the difficulty and the hardship of a worldwide pandemic, and so has everyone else. I felt the sadness of racial imbalance and the strain of finding my place in uncomfortable environments. Although life hasn't been easy, and these past few years have been quite challenging for me, I believe true growth and development comes when you begin to trust your instincts, when you find your strength within you to endure the difficult times and become more aware of the tools and resources around you. This is the moment that you come to realize the shift of adulthood happening. Many of us can understand in our senior year how hard it is. Recently, as I was walking to the gym with my roommate Henry, he said something to me that connected with me. He said, "Life is just going to life you at some point." And that really connected with me. If I had heard this in my sophomore year, I wouldn't have thought anything of it at all. But now, it really doesn't go over my head. It makes me think. It makes me stop. It made me aware of the responsibilities I have, my role, my actions, and how this may affect not only my future, but the people around me. Suffield has been a great place for me. It's given me many keys that I will take with me in life. And I want to take time to make a big shout out to my father and my mother for not only helping me get to this position, but sticking by my side and helping me with whatever problems come my way. I want to thank Mr. Atkins and Mrs. Cook and my basketball team for helping me along this way. I want to thank them for showing me the ropes of Suffield, whether it was from when I first got here or the end of my senior year. The things that these people have done for me are amazing, and I will always forget it, and I will never forget it. One of the amazing lessons personally that I have taught myself this year was in life, sometimes you can't just be realistic. Sometimes you have to think. Just like the people at the highest point that they are today, they don't think, let's be realistic. They think, like Harrison said, shoot for the moon and take whatever comes with it. Whatever you want, the dream, the idea, just dream it and do it. Don't say you can't. Put your mind to it. This is a mindset of many great figures in the world today. As much as I'm understanding life itself, I know it's not perfect, and I know I'm not perfect, and we all have learning curves. But I'm learning to push through it, stay my course, and hold tight to dreams that are dear to my heart. One of the greatest lessons also that I've learned this year is things may not go your way. You expect them to, but they might not. Change is a part of life, and nothing stays the same. Growth involves patience, wisdom, humility, and the potential to be flexible. We used to all be freshmen and sophomore, and now we're seniors looking down at the younger class. Excited about the high school experience. It's now past me, and I'm ready to move forward and to move on to bigger new things. To overcome and successfully conquer a whole new beast. I call that beast life. And I'm up for the challenge. Are you? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Big hat.
Good afternoon, Suffield Academy. My name is Dawson, and this is my third year attending school here. Today, I would like to honor the man who made it all possible, Coach Jason Ford, or some who may know as Coach Forty. As I was getting ready to come back to school, finishing on March break, I got devastating news that Coach Forty had passed. Before coming here, I attended a very small public school in my rural hometown of New Lebanon, New York, from preschool to 9th grade. I would have never thought I would graduate from anywhere but my hometown. One weekend, during an AAU basketball season, my mom woke me up on a Saturday morning around 6 a.m. telling me to get in the car and that I could sleep during the drive. Even though getting up felt nearly impossible that morning, I am forever grateful that I did. Never in my wildest dreams would I believe that such a day could completely change the course of my life and where I'd end up forever. But this was Coach Forty's destiny. This was Forty's daily routine. Coach Jason Ford was a man who touched many people's lives, especially mine. He came into my life and completely flew my world, introducing me to opportunities I didn't know were available to me. Friends that would go on to become some of my strongest bonds that I've made yet in life. And of course, giving me the best life lessons. Forty always had a different way of approaching things. He was calm and patient, something now always found with most basketball coaches. Coach knew in order to get the best out of his kids, he couldn't just be our basketball coach. He decided to be our support, and then we gave him everything he could when he stepped on that court. He did this with so many people, just because he could. Because he wanted to invest his time and energy into helping other people. He believed in people, and he believed in me. Forty, through all you did, you lit a spark and ignited a flame. Your ability to believe in others, to put your heart into those around you, inspired me to live a virtuous life, one in which I will live by the virtues of 40. If I could help others the way you selflessly did for me, and so many others, then I would consider that a life well lived, a life fulfilled. goes without saying that 40 was the best and the greatest. He was someone who changed my life the very same way he did to countless others, and some of whom are in this room right now. The very same people who will become my lifelong best friends. People I would have never met unless I met this man. He affected my life so much more than simply through the game of basketball. He checked up on my family more than I feel I had. Every person he took in became his family. He inspired me to lead a life where I could do the same. When one person, every life is valued, respected, and cherished. In the words of my other coach, Andre, about 40, you put 100K miles on that Acura, drove it into the ground for these kids, taking them to boarding schools, airports, college visits, graduations, and eventually NBA draft parties. Coach Woody, you have put 200 plus kids into prep school, 100 plus of which went to college, 8 of who are now in the NBA. That's enough for 3 lifetimes. You did it all in one. You made your life matter more than anyone could ever put into words. There's nothing that this man wouldn't do for his family, and I'm lucky every day of my life, knowing that I was able to meet him and to be taken under his wing, and know that endless, unconditional love and generosity was purely out of his heart of gold. He didn't do any of this for favors, for money, for reputation. He did it because he could, and because he wanted to. He was selfless and lived for others in a way that is unmatched. Every day I hope to make him proud. Thank you.
Hello, Suffield. My name is Paul Quinlan, and I'm a 4-year senior from East Granby, Connecticut. I can't believe it is already the spring term of my senior year. I remember back to my freshman year, sitting in the chapel across the street while listening to the senior speakers tell us that the time will fly by, and that before you know it, you'll be giving your senior speech. I didn't know it then, but that was definitely true. My years here at Suffield have flashed before my eyes, and I am now hoping that the rest of the year will go by slowly so I can fully enjoy my final months here. With this being said, I highly encourage you all to make the most of every day and cherish your time at Suffield. I remember back to my first step foot on Suffield's campus. From my initial visit and my friends' experience, I completely knew that this was the place for me. Everyone I met was so kind and showed that they genuinely loved their Suffield experience. The community here seemed so welcoming and felt like a complete family. Having been at Suffield for the past few years, I can now say that everything I thought coming in was true. Suffield has become like a family to me and something that I will always remember. We all come from different backgrounds, and that's what makes this place so special. Suffield is the type of place where you can try new things without the fear of failing or not being great. Here I've been given the opportunity to get out of my comfort zone and try new things. Whether that was trying a new sport or joining my first club, I actually felt comfortable and encouraged to try new things and take on all that Suffield had to offer. This has allowed me to grow so much as a person, and it's something that I thank the Suffield community for. Over the last few years, I've been able to mature in many ways and become much more of an outgoing person. I also feel as if I've been able to grow inside of the classroom. For myself, freshman year was indeed a struggle. Like most people, I came in not knowing what to expect and didn't have nearly the same study habits and work ethic that I now do. Though, with the help and willingness of my teachers, I was able to find success. One key tip that I suggest all new students do is to reach out to your teachers. If you're struggling in your math class and don't understand what is going on, reach out for help. Suffield is the type of place that is here to help you, and the people that make up the school embody that. Your teachers will be willing to meet with you and help you when you're struggling. I feel like this was a key factor within my academic success, and I encourage all new students to find what works best for them. At Suffield, I've been able to make lifelong friends, and that is something that I will cherish forever. It is bittersweet being a senior here at Suffield, as although I'm excited for what the future holds, I will greatly miss this place. The next couple of months will fly by, and I'm excited to enjoy the celebrations to come. I want to thank my friends, family, teachers, and everyone who made my experience here so incredible. Thank you all for listening, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Hi, Suffield. My name is Ben Reamer, and I'm a four-year senior from West Hartford. First, I want to give a general thank you to all those at Suffield who have helped me get to this point, and especially my parents for setting me here. Today, I will be sharing my common application essay about how I discovered my sports writing passion. With a click of my mouse, I open WordPress to see new feedback has been posted to your article. I click on the document. Red lines dance across my screen as the editor's comments stand out like a sore thumb. In a panic, I contacted Danny, an editor at the company, to ask if this was normal. No, Danny replied, but you gotta stay positive and apply the feedback from the editor. I had written a sample article for Overtime Heroics, a sports media company. In my mind, this piece of writing was my one shot to seize a distinctive opportunity to join the OTH team, and I felt like I completely bombed it. I discovered Overtime Heroics after Danny recommended me to the basketball department head, who had me submit a sample article as part of the evaluation process. If I was hired, my sample article would be published as my first piece for the company. Danny stressed there were several applicants for the open position, so I would need a robust writing sample to differentiate myself. I was choosing this job because they combined two of my most enduring interests, writing and sports. Like many kids, playing sports was central to my childhood, a great way to make friends and stay fit. While I've been playing sports for a long time, I've been following sports at a professional level for even longer. Indeed, some of my earliest memories involve my father taking me to a Mets game at City Field or a Nets game at Parker Center. I was always fascinated with the statistics of professional athletes and how managers and coaches conduct research to make decisions to maximize wins for their team. My passion for writing emerged more recently. In 10th grade, I decided to improve my writing by applying to take AP English Language and Composition. At first, my parents in the academic office pushed back a little against this request because I had taken regular English the previous year. However, I'm glad I advocated for myself because my writing improved drastically due to that class, something that no doubt contributed to me hearing the job at Overtime Heroics. After addressing every edit of my sample article, the piece was ready to be sent to the department. A few days later, I was asked to join the basketball department as a Brooklyn Nets staff writer, and I was notified that my first article was ready for publication. One of my later articles about the Nets all-time lineup blew up, in the words of my editor, getting around 4,000 views. Next thing I knew, I received an offer to join the baseball department as well, covering the New York Mets organization. And around a year later, in August 2021, I was offered to write for Mets Rise, a website attracting tens of thousands of viewers each day. Working as a sports writer taught me various collaborative skills. Since my fellow writers are located in different areas of the world, effective communication is essential to our success as a writing team. In addition to learning how to build trust as a team of writers, I also feel obligated to deliver quality content to our dedicated community of readers. In my opinion, the cool part about sports writing is that at Suffield, my papers are read by a teacher and perhaps a peer editor. By contrast, my sports articles are read by thousands of diverse people who can share their opinions about my articles through comments on the webpage or on social media. In conclusion, my experiences as a sports writer have shaped me as a thinker, writer, and self-advocate. Because of this experience, I will approach future endeavors ready to challenge myself as I pursue rewarding opportunities that align closely with my passions. Thank you.
Hello, Suffield. My name is Eric Winnicker, and I'm a four-year senior from Essex, Connecticut. you an experience that taught me perseverance as well as patience. For anyone that really knows me, they can agree that I'm not always the most patient person. But this summer, working as a camp lifeguard taught me the importance of both. Let me start at the beginning. Much like many kids my age, the summer job became a necessity as playing golf and fishing every day was no longer considered time well spent by my parents. I applied for a job at a summer camp in hopes of still spending my time outside and having fun. I got the great news that I would be a camp counselor for this summer. About 3 weeks before camp started, we were emailed what our exact jobs were going to be for the entire summer. I thought it was a typo when I saw my name under lifeguard. I emailed my boss and asked if it was a mistake, since I was not even lifeguard certified. He simply responded with a list of upcoming certification dates around the state of Connecticut. Not wanting to quit my first job before even trying, I went to get certified. I took a 2-day class that ended up being the 2 longest days of my life, with so many different saves and information that I needed to memorize. It was a lot more intense and difficult than Baywatch had made it out to be. I passed my final exam, and after a couple days of staff training, I felt ready to go. It was not long before I would realize the amount of patience it would take to persevere to the end of the summer. The morning started off with parent drop-off since it's a day camp. Counselors would be waiting for the kids in their group to be dropped off, while the lifeguards would be helping kids find them. This was a very large camp with about 500 kids attending each session, and with only 4 car lanes for drop-off, it became very chaotic. Apparently, it is tradition for one of the new lifeguards to oversee directing traffic in and out during this busy time. And of course, I was the lucky guy. After the parent drop-off, I would head down to the lake, where I would spend the rest of my day. In the mornings, we gave swim lessons to many groups of kids, and they would always be an adventure. My first day, my very first swim lesson, was 25 7-year-old girls. I had never endured anything going as wrong as that first lesson did. All the girls cared about was running on the docks, splashing, and throwing sand. I struggled with control and being a firm presence as a teacher that first lesson. After that, I quickly realized that for the 11-year-old boys group that was coming next, I was for sure going to have to change my style. As the summer went on, I learned to find the balance between firm and fun, as well as being supportive, as a lot of kids were scared to swim. I became a much better teacher and really enjoyed giving swim lessons and playing games with the kids. In the afternoons, I would lifeguard free swim in various swim areas we had in the lake. And after that, it was right back up to the parking lots for parent pickup, which was now 20 degrees hotter than it was in the morning, and always seemed to take twice as long because of some late parents. Over the summer, through struggle and fun, I created amazing memories with the campers as well as my fellow lifeguards, as we all became very close. This job started off a bit rocky, but I couldn't have been happier with the way it turned out, and I can't wait to go back this year. Thank you.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Dawson, and I'm a PG from Houston, Texas. So for those of you who know the contents of my original speech, after talking with the higher-ups, I am not going to be giving that speech. Instead today, I want to talk about my summer job. As long as I can remember, I've gone up to my grandparents' house in rural North Michigan for the summers. I've had a lot of great times up there, but today I'm going to focus on working as a sailing instructor. When I say that I work at the Leland Yacht Club, I'm sure many of you think of some preppy white mansion on a hilltop, butlers in tuxedos, but let me assure you this is not the case. This one-story wood shack in Leland, Michigan is where I spent much of my childhood and have a lot of great memories. I began sailing school as a plump 6-year-old back in 2008. I hated sailing. I hated how the boat would rock. I hated capsizing, but most of all, I hated the lack of control. I would cry and cry to my mom before every single day, begging her not to have to go, but she would always insist that it would be good for me in the long run. I hate that she's always right. One day I was so scared and frustrated that I jumped right off the boat and swam all the way back to shore, refusing the calls from the instructor, William Watkins, to get back on board. And then one summer, it just kind of clicked.
I was dreading the first day of sailing as always, but when I headed out, it wasn't scary anymore. I started to really like sailing. I started going to advanced classes in the afternoon, and a few summers later went on to win the B Fleet Series racing, becoming one of the youngest to ever do so. This is when the LYC offered me a job, and of course I accepted. I arrived early on my first day as a 14-year-old instructor, and was met with a group of high school and college-age people who were supposed to be my coworkers. And of course my first head instructor was none other than William Watkins. That summer I learned about humility. I would take out the trash, had to stay late to fix boats, all while getting paid under minimum wage by a few dollars. The worst part, however, was being younger and smaller than all the older guys. I was 14 when the next youngest instructor was 16, and on one occasion I made a joke about a guy named Patrick, who's now one of my good friends. And this led to me getting held down and waterboarded by a few of the older guys. Safe to say, I did not make any jokes about Patrick for the rest of the summer. In all seriousness, this summer was an important step for me because it taught me how to be the younger brother of the group when I'd always grown up only having my younger sisters around me. I also learned how to deal with a multitude of different situations. You would probably think that the morning class, which typically ranges in kids from around 6 to 11, would be the hardest to teach. But it was actually the Wednesday morning classes that were the most difficult. Wednesday mornings were reserved for the adult class. And I can assure you that nothing is more awkward than being a middle schooler trying to teach your friend's mom how to sail. It's this really awkward balance between trying to be an instructor in charge of their safety and helping them to learn, while at the same time being respectful of the fact that they're adults. My most difficult student in the class was unquestionably my mom. Because there is nothing a mother loves more than having their middle school son tell them what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. All jokes, love you, Mom. But in all seriousness, these are all skills that I'm grateful to have. There will always be situations in which you are uncomfortable, but learning to work through them is essential in school and the world beyond. This summer, I will be the longest tenured instructor at the LYC and plan to work for June and early July before heading to school for football. I don't know where life will take me this year or in the future, but I know that I will be better prepared because of my time as a sailing instructor. Thank you all.